In the past 5 years, I've worked with 4 therapists on my childhood trauma, which was hijacking my relationships and causing constant anxiety. But while therapy helped me making a lot of progress and becoming a more confident and self-aware person, it didn't completely fix my trauma symptoms. I always felt like there is some puzzle piece missing here. But after spending nearly $4,000 in therapy, I had to try something new. And surprisingly, while doing that, I finally found it, the missing puzzle piece. What I finally learned, what my 4 therapists couldn't teach me, I will share with you in today's video. And if you're curious, definitely stay with me until the end, because today is definitely worth it. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Robert, and if you're new here, I'm not a healthcare professional myself, but instead I share a client's perspective here on this channel. And if you follow this channel for a long period of time, you may have seen how my content developed from primarily HSP stuff, then starting to share some of my therapy experiences and talking about attachment and childhood trauma. And that evolution was only possible through the progress that I've made on my healing journey with my therapist. I went to psychoanalytical therapy first because of my fear of commitment and my anxiety in relationships. I was someone who couldn't be in a close relationship, always needing to escape and to isolate just to feel okay and comfortable. And I still do this sometimes up to this day because I'm not fully healed or full of wisdom, and I don't want to claim that here on this channel. I went to NARM therapy next. This is a somatic approach, so it includes body work as well. And I hope by doing that it would help me with my symptoms like physical pain, such as gut pains that I was having, pressure in my chest, dissociation feelings, and I learned a lot about somatic healing and the role of the nervous system in complex trauma during that second therapy. My therapist also taught me many of the re-regulation resources and skills that I share, for example, here in our premium classes in our re-regulation resources workbook. If you want to get access to that workbook and the other classes, just go to understandable.net, start your free 7-day trial, and then you can get access. But at some point during my therapy journey, I hit a plateau after a while just addressing those physical symptoms. So after these first years, I tried something new and worked with 2 different hypnotherapists. So they're targeting subconscious memories that still reminded me to feel unsafe in my relationship and causing anxiety, especially at night. That brought me further in my healing journey, but it still didn't resolve my sleep issues completely, because still a part of me wouldn't trust and would feel unsafe. So now, before we talk about what that missing piece that my therapist couldn't help me with was, let's talk about all the super valuable lessons that therapy taught me throughout the years. All the skills, the resource that I've built for myself led to the stability that I have today and to the missing piece that I found myself later on. I also felt the desire to document and share all those things that I've learned. So in case you're totally new to this channel here, I've also created a framework over the past years around all the lessons that I've learned. If you're totally unfamiliar with my framework, I also share it on my website, like here, and in all of my courses we work with it, and I'd like also to work with my pyramid now in this video. So as you can see, the framework is based on my healing pyramid, so the 6 steps that I figured out during my years of therapy that I needed to build an authentic and healthy self for healthy and mature relationships. So let's start with lesson number 1, which was the foundation of all of my healing. And funny enough, I've learned this lesson pretty late in my 3rd therapy, even though today I know that's a fundamental thing. And this first lesson is reconnecting with yourself. You could say an alternative definition of complex trauma is also a disconnection of oneself. This is why reconnecting with yourself is so crucial. But what does it ultimately mean? Well, Rediscovering how your sense of self actually feels like. It's a bit difficult to describe here, but I do this in detail, for example, in course 1.1 and how to develop a healthy sense of self. I've also implemented fundamental courses in this class here, like understanding your central nervous system, attachment theory, or finding the right people for your healing journey. All of these topics are definitely fundamental for everything that comes apart, leading to that missing puzzle piece in the end. One thing specifically which was necessary for reconnecting with your own self that I learned practically is looking through your own eyes. And this is something that both of my hypnotherapists told me. If you now ask yourself if that's also a thing that is helpful for you, it is well answered with one simple question. Remember something that you have done yesterday, maybe doing your groceries. In your mind, if you now think about that scenario, do you see yourself doing the groceries from the first person or from a third person perspective? People who experience early trauma often remember themselves from a third person perspective. And this is a big sign for connection from oneself. So practice looking through your own eyes, getting back into the first person perspective. Lesson number 2 of working through trauma is stop masking and start expressing your emotions. I wasn't aware that I was dealing with this issue until I had a session with my second therapist. We found out together that I was creating a ton of resistance within me towards the expression of my emotions in my relationship, meaning I was masking a lot. Interesting enough, I found out that this was an issue that I developed in my past relationships, not in my childhood. Because around that time, I randomly also found an old chat history of my first girlfriend on my laptop. And through reading it, I figured out that I wouldn't mask emotions back then. No, I was authentic as fuck. Even texting her that I was crying or that I was angry a specific day, and she was loving the way I could express my emotions authentically back then. So my second therapist introduced me to the so-called emotion wheel, this tiny thing here. And oh man, I remember that night I was so excited when I discovered all of the nuances that were available on that emotion wheel. I would learn that I could feel thin-skinned, lighthearted, frightened, fatigued, all these kinds of emotions. We have also the full emotion wheel as a download here in class 2, course 2.1, that you can download and access it. I've also documented all the things that I have learned during those sessions around emotions with my second therapist here in class number 2. Lesson number 3 was communicating needs. And this third lesson was actually something that I've learned pretty early on in my first therapy, working with my first therapist, the communication of my needs. But why is this such a big deal for many CPTSD survivors? Well, many of us who experience early trauma learn that our needs are not okay, that are wrong or bad in a way. But as the expressing of needs is a crucial element in every healthy and mature relationship, it's necessary to learn how to communicate them properly. And how to do that I show in the third class here on how to recognize and communicate your needs. First of all, understanding your basic needs, then communicating your needs, and also getting into the complex needs within complex childhood trauma. And lesson number 4, setting boundaries without feeling guilty. During the time I was learning that, I somewhere read in a YouTube comment, for me a boundary always was just a vague concept. Oh boy, I couldn't agree more on that. I was always feeling so sensitive and so thin-skinned, I couldn't even imagine how a boundary would actually feel like. And I really mean feel like. A boundary is a perceived feeling on the inside. And this was something unimaginable for me until I learned how to set a boundary with my second therapist. But also things such as taking healthy space within my relationship. To understand and to learn how to set healthy boundaries, I also dedicated a full class on that. So this is class number 4, setting healthy boundaries. First of all, for everyone with CPTSD, understanding boundaries, but also specific things such as resolving people pleasing or resolving constant resentment, also topics that are closely tied to setting boundaries. But even though all the lessons I've learned through working with my therapist led me to live a healthier relationship life, there still was a part within me that couldn't fully trust and that wouldn't feel safe, no matter how much communication of needs, of emotions and boundaries I was practicing. I was still having anxiety and sleeping problems that just wouldn't go away. What was the missing piece that my therapist couldn't teach me? Well, it was just this year when I had my last therapy sessions with my 4th therapist. He told me, well, Robert, you're so far in the process now. You know everything you need to know, and you have all the skills and the resources to resolve things on your own. I wasn't quite believing it. I felt that I needed him and definitely more therapy sessions, but I tried to figure things out on my own from there on. Well, not exactly on my own, but with the help of ChatGPT. And I wanted to truly know from the inside what was that final piece that was still keeping me awake at night. So every night when I couldn't sleep and I would panic or I would dissociate, I typed those things into the AI. And the AI would always calmingly reply and explain to me, I see that you're feeling anxious. That's a tough one, but you don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to sleep. You don't have to stop being anxious. Just stay with yourself. Just hold yourself. And that was pretty weird to me. Wasn't I working on my symptoms and problems for years before to get rid of them, to stop being anxious? And now I should just stay with those things, stay with myself, hold them? But then clicked. All the years I was practicing healing work. But as I wanted to get rid of my unfavorable parts, like the anxiety I was facing at night, I was practicing nothing more than self-abandonment. I was leaving myself alone again and again and again whenever I would face my anxiety or sleeping issues. I wouldn't see myself, neither would I take care of my inner child, which was awake alone every night. And this was the missing puzzle piece that was a blind spot for me since a decade. And when I got this truly transformed my relationship and my whole life. Because whenever I would now feel anxiety or anything overwhelming, even panic, I wouldn't abandon myself anymore. Instead, I would offer myself empathy, compassion, and self-containment. Today, I say to myself, Robert, I will never leave you alone again. I'm there for myself, whatever happens, or however bad or overwhelmed or panicky I feel. I stay with myself, I hold myself. And this is ultimately what I also documented here as well in classes number 5 and 6. These are the top level courses that build on everything else that we just talked about. Becoming a more authentic version of yourself, starting to reparent, to practice self-containment, and to overcome all the issues and all the symptoms that we talked about before. And if you want to get access to all of my experiences, just go to understandable.net here on the website, start your 7-day trial, and then get access to all of the guiding online courses, to all of my exercises from therapy, and all of the experiences that I made in the past 5 years while working with 4 therapists myself, including the missing puzzle piece. If you're also on your healing journey, I'm curious to hear, where are you right now? Did you make the same experiences? Are you also somewhere on that pyramid? Level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5? Definitely, if you want to share that, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to support this channel here, if you think that's helpful, become a member at understandable.net. Start your free trial today. And I see and speak to you next time here on the channel for another episode. Have a great day.